Is this thing on? It is. All right. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, DaRock. We are now just 4 days away from Selection Sunday. We have 4 days left of college basketball conference tournaments. So I'm going to be going through my remaining picks for any other tournaments I haven't started yet, as well as on recapping yesterday, doing a little bubble talk, seeing who's in, who's out, and then looking at some of the games here today going forward. So if you're into college basketball, whether you've been here since November or you're just showing up in March, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're on Spotify, make sure to follow and rate the show 5 stars, and let's get into it. All right, so we're going to start here first day with my picks for the last 2 tournaments starting. First one is the MAC that I'm going to be live at here this morning into the rest of the day. So if you're not following me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, places like that, make sure to drop a follow there because I'm posting content, with my picks and, my recaps on the game. So the really fun team here is the Miami, Ohio Redhawks, who are undefeated. They take on a UMass team in the first round that's played them tough already, but I like Miami to get the win there. Toledo, Bowling Green should be a close one, but I went with Toledo. Akron, a lot of people are arguing, probably the best team here in the league, so I think they should cruise against Buffalo. And then Kent State in Ohio should be a fun one to end out the night. I went with Kent State. Then semifinals, going Miami, Ohio. I'm going Akron. I think those are the 2 best teams in the league. Everyone's been talking about it, and everyone's been saying, what are we going to do with Miami, Ohio? Goes undefeated, but then loses in the MAC title game. I don't think they're going to give that option. I think Miami, Ohio, while, analytics, metrics, all that kind of stuff, has Akron as the better team. Miami, Ohio's just found ways to win all year, whether it's against, good teams in the MAC, whether it's against bad teams in the MAC. They just find a way to win. They end up eking out all these close games, even if it isn't, by the prettiest margin. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Miami, Ohio. I think they're going to leave no doubt. They're going to keep the undefeated season going here into the tournament. So give me the Red Hawks to make the big dance here. And then the other tournament that starts isn't until Saturday, the Ivy tournament. It's just the top 4 teams of the league: Yale, Cornell, Harvard, and Penn. I'm going Yale over Harvard in the title game. I think Yale's the best team in that league. They have been all year, led by Nick Townsend. He's a dog. He's a lot of fun to watch. And, Yale's been a team that's made the dance a good amount recently. So I have them taking down their rivals Harvard here in the Ivy final. So let's bounce over to some bracketology. So this is updated as of this morning, I believe, here from Joe Lenardi. Looking at it here, 3:12, 2 a.m. Eastern. So right around, right after the Big Sky title game. So right now, his last 4 byes, he has NC State, UCF, Santa Clara, and Texas. All 4 of those teams are now, or other than UCF, 3 of those 4 teams are done playing. So they kind of have to wait around a little bit. But honestly, that's, when your last 4 byes, these teams should be good. Last 4 in, he has Missouri, VCU, SMU, and Auburn. So Mizzou, big game here against Kentucky today. VCU, they don't get started until tomorrow in the A10 tournament. And then SMU lost. Auburn is still has a chance to play, still in the field after winning yesterday. But that's just so gross that they're in right now. The first 4 out is Indiana, New Mexico, Stanford, and San Diego State. I saw, if you watched yesterday, after the A10 preview, I talked a little bit about the Mountain West. I think New Mexico or San Diego State, one of those teams could very easily win the Mountain West. So I think we're going to see one of them in the field, which will knock out Auburn, hopefully. If not even, maybe we get both of them here in the title game, or they couldn't play in the title game. Maybe we get them in the semifinals. Maybe it's enough to get them both in the dance. And the next 4 out, we got Cincinnati, Oklahoma, Vatech, and Cal. Other than Oklahoma, all those teams are done, and Oklahoma's going on a bit of a run here. So I would say that's kind of what we're looking like here. So let's go over some of those big results here from yesterday quickly. Iowa State skunks Arizona State. That one, not really big for bubble implications, but just a 91-42 win there for Iowa State. Really nice win there. SMU, like I talked about, they lost 58-62 to Louisville. Was a game that the Broncos, or I'm sorry, the Mustangs led for a while, but end up dropping that one. And if they won that, I think they would have been feeling pretty comfortably in the tournament. But now, with that loss, that probably hurts them a little bit here. Where now it's going to be a little bit risky. They're going to have to kind of sit and wait around for it's going to be a long couple of days. Iowa destroys Maryland. Was at that game live. NC State takes down Pitt 98-88. Good win there for the Wolfpack. They've been a bad loss, like I said. They keep dancing. They're looking pretty good so far. They get then, or well, I'll get to today's matchups here in a sec. Kentucky takes down LSU 87-82 in a close one. Wildcats are safely in the field, so that wasn't really too big of an upset there, or too big of a result there. Prairie View A&M took down Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman was the 1 seed in the Southern, or in the SWAC, so that's why I'm mentioning that one off the top there. Auburn, like I said, beat Mississippi State 79-61. Pretty easy win there for the Tigers. Cincinnati and UCF was a fun one, but UCF ends up knocking off Cincinnati, so that's why I said UCF should be in the dance. They should be good. Cincinnati falls short. They're going to be in the outside looking in. McNeese, for the 3rd straight year, wins the Southland, taking down Stephen F. Austin in that title game, 76-59. Javon Garcia goes for 31 to lead the Cowboys, and they're a team that I really think they're going to win a game here in March. Indiana, one of those bowl teams I talked about, their season is now over. If you're 74-61 loss to Northwestern, Carter saw them going on a run. This is kind of why I said why. They once again lose to Northwestern for the 2nd time here in a week, or week plus or so. And just, yeah, this Hoosier team was not playing good ball as well. Nick Martinelli's been hooping for Northwestern. He played really good on Tuesday night when I saw him live in another big game yesterday. Xavier has a really outside chance they'd have to probably win the Big East here. They take down Marquette 89-87. So both those teams kind of same thing. We're going to have to go on a run in the Big East tournament. So Xavier keeps dancing. Texas, bad loss to Ole Miss 76-66. They're going to be out of the tournament. That was just a really bad result for them. Lehigh takes down Boston to win the Patriot League. I misspoke yesterday. I said Lehigh went around. Lehigh was the 2 seed, but I thought they were going to lose to Colgate. I thought they for sure were going to lose to Navy. They got there, but Boston upset Navy. Lehigh beat Colgate, and then the Mountain Hawks going back to NCAA tournament first time since 2012 when they beat the Duke Blue Devils. So hopefully we don't see that matchup again. But Lehigh fans are wanting it. You know, Lehigh's checked to be a 16. Duke's obviously going to be a 1. So we'll see what happens there. BYU beats West Virginia by 20, 68-48 game. You know, they lost the Mountaineers a couple weeks ago, but I thought they were going to get revenge. But, you know, really impressive result there to beat them by as much as they did. FSU wins a big one over Cal. Like I said, FSU, another team that's playing some good ball right now. On the bubble, going to have to go on a bit of a run here. But a 95-89 win behind 30 points from Rob McCray. He's been playing really well here for Florida State. He's been a lot of fun to watch. Clemson cruises against Wake Forest 71-62. RJ Godfrey, the leader with only 11, but like I said, Clemson tournament team, Wake Forest is a team they're going to have to go on a run, so their season's over. Oklahoma gets the win over South Carolina. Granted, South Carolina's horrible. Nigel Pack goes for 24. TCU takes down Oklahoma State 95-88. That was a really fun one. Caught the end of that one live. David Punch goes for 26 to lead the comeback for the Horned Frogs. And then late night in the Big Sky to clinch the auto bid, Idaho takes down Montana 77-66 behind Isaiah Brickner going for 23 points. So the Vandals complete the big run there in the Big Sky. So let's go on to today's game. So like I said, we're starting here 11 a.m. Eastern with this Miami UMass game. Chance start by the time you're watching this video. It's already started. Like I said, went with Miami in that one. We got A10 second round here today. Big ones for the bubble. We got Virginia and NC State taking out. Like I said, NC State could probably use one more win if they beat Virginia. Like they're definitely in. They're probably already in, but a win against Virginia would be really nice. Iowa and Ohio State's going to be a fun one. Bennett Sturts versus Bruce Thornton going at it. I wish that was one I could almost be at here. At the Big Ten tournament after being there the last couple of days. So in that pick, went with Iowa, but like I said, I could very easily see that one going either way. Kentucky and Missouri is a big one. Like I said, both those. Missouri, a win against Kentucky could have them feeling good. They've already beat this Kentucky team this year. I think they get the win despite the projections showing Kentucky to win there. Iowa State, Texas Tech, projected to be a good one as well. I had Iowa State winning that one in my pick. St. John's and Providence, Duncan Powell, Bryce Hopkins, fight night round 2. We'll have to see how that goes. But I have St. John's. Seton Hall and Creighton's another fun Big East one, second game of the day, where, you know, both those teams I could see winning this game and, you know, maybe even going on a run here in the Big East, winning the dance, winning, you know, the Big East tournament, all the other being a bid stealer. So Seton Hall expected to win. I went with them originally, but like I said, could see that one going either way. Auburn could get a big win over Tennessee today. They're projected to lose by 5. For the sake of all of you guys that and myself like watching basketball, good basketball, I hope Auburn loses. So I'm going to go with Tennessee. We got Mountain West quarters today. Utah State, UNLV. Grand Canyon, Nevada is supposed to be a good one. San Diego State, Colorado State. And then I'm assuming it's New Mexico. I forget New Mexico and who they're playing. But that's the other one there. And looking here throughout other bubble games, Georgia, Ole Miss. Georgia, like I said, team I thought could go on a run in the SEC. I like them to get that win there. Oklahoma, Texas A&M. Like I said, Texas A&M is a team that's in the field right now. Oklahoma needs to do some work. A&M's stretched to win that one by 1. I did have them winning in my picks. So that, I'm going to go with A&M to win there. But like I said, if Oklahoma wins, that could be a big result for them. North Carolina Clemson should be a fun one late night. Carolina projected to win. I went with them in my picks, and I'm still going to stick with them. Duke, Florida State, that's one I got to talk about. That's going to be a really big one. Like I said, Florida State probably needs another win or two to potentially play themselves into the tournament here. They're playing some really good basketball as of late. Duke is still projected to win this one by 19 without their injuries. I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. I don't see that one being a blowout. I am going to go with the Blue Devils to get the win there, though. As fun as this Florida State story has been. But, hey, you never know. Like I said, Florida State played Duke close the first time in Tallahassee, and that was back in January. So we'll see kind of how that goes. Miami-Louisville is another big ACC one. Louisville projected to win. I picked them in my bracket, but Miami's a team that, like I said, if they win this game, I could see them winning the ACC tournament altogether. It was more just I was a little skeptic on them winning that game. And we got Houston-BYU, another good Big 12 one. BYU finally playing some good ball here, but I think that's kind of where their run ends. I'm going with Houston there. And then, yeah, just like I said, A-10 quarters. We got some more SWAC. So, yeah, we're getting down into it here. Getting down to the nitty-gritty. We're almost, like I said, 4 more days of basketball, and then we're on to Selection Sunday. All right, and then quickly here, do just want to go through, like I said, we had 3 new teams joining this auto bid list here, McNeese, Lehigh, and Idaho. So we're about halfway set on our tournament field. We don't have any more finals until Saturday, when Saturday's littered with them, and then there's a couple more on Sunday. But shout out to Tennessee State, High Point, Northern Iowa, Queens, North Dakota State, Furman, Troy, Hofstra, Long Island, Wright State, Siena, Gonzaga, McNeese, Lehigh, and Idaho for punching their tickets. If I had to look on this list of a team that I could, see winning a game, maybe 2, and Gonzaga's excluded. They're, not going to be a high, or they'll be like a 3 or 4 seed. They're not going to be a lower seed like these teams. I already went with High Point. I already said Northern Iowa in previous episodes. I think McNeese, they won a tournament game last year against Clemson. I think they're a team primed for an upset again this year. And if I had to go one more, I'd go Troy. I think Troy's another team that if, we're going to see, they're probably going to be like a 13 or 14. If we're going to see a 3 or 4 seed lose, it's going to be, I think it's going to be Troy. Troy, that's the one that knocks them off, and then great. I think like High Point or Northern Iowa, one of them will be a 12, one of them will probably be a 13. So I would go Troy and those ones. But yeah, I want to shout out all those teams, especially, a lot of fun stories there. Where like Hofstra, Siena, they hadn't been to the NCAA tournament in a very long time, coached by former players, in Speedy Claxton at Hofstra. Jerry McNamara didn't go to Siena, obviously with Syracuse, and now, it's looking prime for that Syracuse job. So he's done a really good job there. And then, yeah, like I said, a lot of fun stories where McNeese won their 3rd straight. Will Wade leaves after last year, but Amir Ora Khan is still there, the student manager. Granted, like I said, not really an effect on the court. But, yeah, I think they're once again primed for another potential NCAA tournament berth here. But that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Quick one today. We'll see about, maybe try to do another quick pod. Tomorrow is kind of going through the games there, but we'll be at the A-10 tournament with my guy, A-10 Superfan Burry. So we'll kind of see there what my availability is. So, yeah, if you missed that episode yesterday, make sure to go check it out here on the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like the video while you're down there. Rate the show 5 stars on Spotify. Follow on Spotify. As well as, check out all my other socials. Like I said, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Been posting a lot of stuff from these different tournaments that I've been at. Like I said, if you're listening to this, I'm probably already here at the MAC tournament, just recording this quickly before I head out. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.